Press Hockey Coverage with Jim Biringer.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Full Press NHL Hockey here. Up on YouTube, follow along, Full Press Hockey, Jim Biringer. Please like, subscribe, comment on the channel as well. We love everybody. Breaking some rumors, insights, however you want to label it. But let's start off in Montreal. The Montreal Canadiens have extended Mike Matheson a 5-year deal, $6 million in AAV. Obviously, first 3 years is a full no-move clause, 14-team no trade in year 4, and a 5-team no trade in year 5. So if you look at it, it's a really good deal for both parties. Been talking about it since my days on TSN in the summer in Montreal. That was asked about it. Should we extend him? Exactly. You needed to extend him. If your window is to get into the playoffs and be a consistent playoff team, you cannot rely on young defensemen with questionable goaltending right now, though Sam Montembeault has played better. Jakub Dobeš is playing better. But you can't ask guys like David Reinbacher, who hasn't played much in the National Hockey League, if at all, outside of some preseason games, to take the next step next year. He's playing well, Noah Dobson. You got Lane Hudson stepping up. Caden Gooley's there. You have some nice young pieces. To keep Mike Matheson, that's huge. The more veterans you have back there, the better. If David Savard doesn't retire, maybe Savard's staying too. Kent Hughes getting his guys at his prices. This is what this team needed to do. The Canadiens building things the right way. And look, he's getting about $21 million in signing bonuses. So it's buyout proof. It's everything you want in this contract. Again, talked about it with Kirby, talked about it with David Calabretta as well on recent episodes of the podcast. I had estimated 3 times 6 if you were going $6 million because of the market. Again, we saw Jackson Lacombe and Luke Hughes get $9 million deals, but everybody else seems to be coming under that. Winning teams know how to put together a salary structure. Again, now what happens because Mike Matheson's there's a logjam on the right side. Bernard Berjacki and Adam Enstrom. Could a Caden Gooley go? Could Jade Struble go? Plus the first rounder. Obviously, they're linked to Ryan O'Reilly, so the New Jersey Devils. The Devils could use a second-line center who could be a third-line center in Ryan O'Reilly with Jack Hughes out of the lineup, even when Jack Hughes returns. And if the going rate, as reported last year with RG Media, is a top prospect and a first-round pick, and Barry Trotz was looking for the farm, again, with the Devils like he was for UC Saros. It was Simone Nemec, Dawson Mercer in the first. Now the Canadiens have a little bit of wiggle room. Same with the Devils, right? They can give up a player to go get a guy like Ryan O'Reilly. But again, how much do teams want to overpay for a 34-year-old? You can give up maybe the first or an end, a Struble or Reinbacher, but do they want to give up on Reinbacher? There are a lot of options now for the Montreal Canadiens, but you get Mike Matheson, an anchor of that defense, back there having a bounce-back year, playing so well in front of the goaltending, helping the young defenseman flourish, just jumping in the rush when he needs to, veteran leadership back there. You mix the young core with the group of veterans they have there in Montreal, Kent Hughes, Jeff Gordon, A-plus deal. You like what they're doing there in Montreal. They're getting everything done. Again, when you talk about rebuilds, you're talking about one of those teams that love the rebuild. And Calgary, right? Calgary's a team. Oh, we heard Don Maloney. Oh, I don't like the rebuild. It takes too long. We need to be competitive. We need to stay in the murky middle. Well, Craig Conroy got a 2-year contract extension. So did Don Maloney, Brad Pascal, and the rest of the upper management staff. Dave Nonis. Obviously, you have Jerome McGinley there as well. Peter Holland is there as well. But you listen to what Don Maloney says about being competitive and leaning on the veterans and what could have been and how this is what they need to do and how maybe they'll keep Rasmus Andersson around. And would anybody be shocked if Rasmus Andersson stayed in Calgary? Again, till somebody's gone, they could stay with that team. There's always that possibility. When we get to Vancouver, we'll talk about that. But when we talk about Calgary, you hear Craig Conroy talking about building towards the new building. Can't wait to be there for the new building. Drafting, developing the young players, getting the right assets in for moving out players. And this is a tough year, as explained on the Rob Peterson show, as on Full Press Media on Substack. There's not a lot of UFAs for the Calgary Flames. And the Calgary Flames are playing better now that their name's out there in the trade rumors. It seems like Vancouver's doing it. Buffalo got the bump. Toronto got the bump. Montreal. Everybody who's involved in the trade rumors get that little bump, except Nashville and St. Louis. St. Louis playing a little bit better. But again, you look at what Calgary's doing. They made all those trades when Tyler Toffoli was there. Elias Lindholm. They moved out Nikita Zadorov, Noah Hanifin, Jacob Markstrom. all those guys got moved out. And they made some nice trades. You move out, you got Joel Farabee in there, Morgan Frost in there as well. They're making some nice moves, right? You bring in a Kevin Ball, Igor Sharangovich, you're keeping a Matty Coronado, you're keeping a Dustin Wolf. Guys like that, that's huge, Connor Zary. And then you're drafting and developing. If you get another high pick, despite what Don Maloney says is fantasy hockey, they get a player like that, something the Calgary Flames has never had. The fan base wants it, brings energy. You're seeing what's happening in the New York Islanders with Matthew Schaefer, the Ben Kindles in Pittsburgh, the youthful energy. You're seeing what San Jose is doing. If you model yourself off, and as Craig Conroy likes to say, wants to be like Colorado, wants to be like Dallas, wants to be like the San Jose's, the Anaheims, the Montreals, you get a high draft pick. Toronto did it. All these teams that are now taking that next step got a high first-round draft pick. So it's not fantasy hockey. It then becomes on the pro amateur scouting staff to find these guys. And I think Calgary has to do it. They have guys. Zane Parek's coming. Gavin Min is coming, right? Craig Conroy's talked about some of these guys that are going to come up. They have nice young pieces. But what do they do with Rasmus Andersson, Nazem Kadri, Blake Coleman? And I think I'll keep repeating myself, as I said on TSN, written about it. Nazem Kadri isn't going anywhere unless a team makes an offer they can't refuse. Yes, out of The Godfather. But we're being serious here. They don't want to move him. He doesn't want to move. Similar to Mike Matheson in Montreal, he wanted to stay. They wanted to keep him. Plain and simple, that's what it came down to. So if you look at it, I think the Calgary Flames can model themselves out of that. They've missed the playoffs a couple of years now. Yeah, they missed last year, 96 points. Expectations were high. As somebody said, Kirby said it, but I've heard others say it as well. When expectations are high for the Flames, they kind of fall short. When they have no expectations, that's when they surprise. Calgary Flames are in good hands with Craig Conroy. They need to keep Craig Conroy. A lot of mixed messages, a lot of mixed signals coming from the Calgary Flames. Again, Don Maloney, that Jacob Markstrom deal doesn't go across the finish line, and then he gets out of town, and it does. Rasmus Andersson, there was a deal in place in the summer, but it didn't happen. They want to keep him. We'll see where the market goes with Rasmus Andersson, but teams are going to want right-shot defensemen. Teams are going to want a player like Blake Coleman, right? Do they move a Ryan Lomberg? I guess the Flames are in a good spot. They're a hardworking team, Ryan Huska, but I think things are going to settle down for the Calgary Flames. Now with all this drama off the ice fixed, you can clearly see what the vision is for Craig Conroy. He's talking about building, getting the young players in there, mixing it with the veterans, taking their time with it. It's got to be patience, right? It's not going to happen overnight. And I don't think people expect it to happen overnight. But you can't get into the Buffalo territory. You have to start being Chicago and the Montreals, where you say, okay, a couple years down years, but now we got to be competitive. Got to make playoffs. So a team to watch is the Calgary Flames. Another team to watch, Vancouver Canucks. What is going on in Vancouver? What is the plan by Jim Rutherford and by Patrick Allvin? Because it seems like everybody's on the block, written about it, right? What's the plan? What's the direction? Do they know? JT Miller, before he got traded and signed an 8-year extension on the block, he ended up going to New York last year, but he ends up getting, an 8-year extension because he had beef with Elias Pettersson. Elias Pettersson looks really good this year. Started off slow. He's coming into his own. And again, Vancouver getting the bump. And I don't think he's going anywhere. The Canucks still want to find a center. You try to get rid of him. Now you're looking for 2 centers. You kept Brock Besser. He was out the door. You keep him. Pettersson was out the door the year. He signed his extension even last year in the Marty Necas deal, potentially with Carolina. Could have gone to Buffalo if they were trying to get, a guy like Dylan Cousins and maybe Bo Byram. But again, Vancouver, you threaten everybody to trade everybody, but you're not trading guys because you don't have guys you can trade, because the only guys you can trade are guys like Teddy Bluger, David Kamps, Derek Forbert, and Kiefer Sherwood. And Sherwood's going to be, could get a second-round pick, could get a first-round pick. The other guys aren't going to get much. And you picked Camp off a waiver, so you're going to need him because everybody else got no move clauses. Jake DeBrusk, no move clause. Thatcher Demko, no move clause. Brock Besser, no move clause. Elias Pettersson, no move clause. Tyler Myers, no move clause. Philip Hronik, no move clause. Yes, we know guys can go if they waive. But there's, again, good buddy, good friend of the show, Dave Pagnotta, said he spoke with some agents, so did I, saying these guys aren't going anywhere. They're still on the Vancouver Canucks, right? Yeah, we've seen other teams make tough decisions, but those guys aren't going anywhere. So I think it's a threat, get some guys playing better. But I think, again, the head scratcher is the Thatcher Demko contract. What were they doing with that? I don't understand it. I never got it. That 3-year deal at a full no move clause, not a fan of it. Also, Kevin Lankinen, and Arthur Sivas is now in Pittsburgh. Some decision making by the Canucks, but it dates back to when they lost in the Stanley Cup final. It goes back to the Roberto Luongo, Corey Schneider days. So again, Vancouver, they got to find a direction. What do they want to do? Again, Marcus Pettersson, a guy they brought in last year, got a full new move. So there's not a lot of options for the Vancouver Canucks right now. Options for the Edmonton Oilers in goal, we've documented this. The team's got to play better. Shout out Craig Button again, because you and I are using the same line. Dominic Hasek in his prime is not helping what the Edmonton Oilers have right now. Play better defense, got to play better team game. Yes, they're linked to Tristan Jarry, Jordan Bennington, Laurent Brossoit, Elvis Merzlikins, and UC Saros. But what else do they have to give up? What other depth pieces and what other money has to move to make this team competitive? There's not a lot of options out there. Maybe Laurent Brossoit could be the best option for this team. I know Tristan Jarry and Bennington are linked. Bennington, 14-team no trade, have to waive to go there. Again, we saw what Tristan Jarry was last year on a bad defensive Pittsburgh team. He wasn't good. He ended up playing in the minors. Do they take that chance again? They did it with Jack Campbell. Again, it's a fundamental defensive problem. Any goaltender the Edmonton Oilers bring in, they just rely on them to win games. Can't do that. Have to play better. So let's see what they do. Toronto trying to make hockey trades. Do they move out guys that they brought in, like Brandon Carl, like a Scott Lawton? Do they move out Matthias Michelli and a Nick Waugh to try to bring something? Again, go back to Craig Button. Go back to Elliot Friedman. Yes, Marner wasn't the problem. Yes, they need a new look, but sometimes you have to keep what you know. Clearly, the Leafs are missing a good defensive player. Matthews and Nyes are stepping up, elite players. This is what they're doing, but they want to make hockey trades. Brad Treliving, he's got the green light to do it, but he also wants his team to play better. And I think that's the moral of this is the teams that are not performing well, roster management and players on the roster like Nashville. We talked about it. Too many of the same players with Stamkos and Marchessault and Forsberg. And Forsberg and Yossi are not going anywhere. Those are the kiss of death for Barry Trotz if he moves those guys. Also, if you look at it and you say, okay, if those guys do move, they must move everybody. All options are on the table for the Nashville Predators now, including a coaching change for Andrew Burnett if things don't turn around. Again, he doesn't want to do it, but again, we've noticed with Lou Lamoriello, he's not afraid when he was a GM with New Jersey, with other teams, to make that coaching change, especially in New Jersey. Remember, he got rid of, Robbie Ftorek with a couple of games left. He got rid of Claude Julien. He's not afraid. He wasn't afraid to make the move. Barry Trotz seems to still have that coach's mindset, and he knows it's not on Brunette, but sometimes you have to make the coaching move. Pete DeBoer's still out there. Where does he land? Again, Marchessault's name's starting to come out there. Mentioned him on Rob Peterson's show as well. Stamkos' name is out there. Again, New Jersey, they want to look to upgrade a top six forward. When they lost out on Marchessault on July 1st, 2024, he was going there, but Tom Fitzgerald, again, similar to Tyler Toffoli's situation, didn't want to go 4 or 5 years with the contract, wanted a 3-year deal similar to Vegas and Montreal. I would not be shocked they try to get him out of Nashville, figure out a way maybe to move Andre Palat out of there. So a lot of moving parts right now in the National Hockey League. There's a lot of talk going around, especially around centers. There's a lot of talk, not a lot of action. Toby Keith, a little less talk, maybe more action. I think that's what we need. But again, Braden Shen's name's out there. Everybody on the Blues is officially out there, right? I guess. But again, they're starting to play better. What are they going to try to do? Artemi Panarin seems to be the biggest free agent left. He's going to go to July 1st. Would not be shocked. And weigh his options. Don't be surprised if Sergei Bobrovsky stays in Florida. John Carlson's going to stay in Washington. So the free agent class that we think we're going to have or thought we were going to have, not going to have. Again, as the people I've talked to wrote it on RG Media, said it. The executives have told me the norm is what we saw this past year, free agency. We're going to see it again. Maybe we make some trades. But again, we have to rely on that playoff salary cap to make things work. So a lot of things going on. But Canadians getting things done with Mike Matheson still on the hunt for depth, as well as a second-line center. They bring in Alex Texier, so that was a good addition, but they're still looking for more. What are the plans in Nashville, Vancouver, and Calgary? Seems like they got their head on their shoulders now. Can Edmonton get a goaltender? We're going to find out. A lot of interesting details, a lot of nuggets out there, a lot of different moving parts. But the chatter's there, but the market's real thin. Stay tuned for more on Full Press Hockey. Jim Biringer. Like, subscribe, follow along. Looking forward to our next guest that comes on as well. This has been a rumor segment, inside segment as well. Guys, take care and enjoy.
Full Press Hockey coverage with Jim Biringer.